This woman is a winner. So, we've become very close friends all of a sudden.
Getting real interesting around here, isn't it? Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Donald Trump signing a massive deal, multiple deals with Japanese companies, but one of them, the biggest one, is with Brookfield. Meanwhile, Mark Carney not signing a deal with Trump. Something's getting real fishy around here. Let's jump into this. This was quite interesting. So Barbara Ball pointing out that Mark Carney still doesn't have a constituency office in Nepean. Remember the riding that he stole from Chandra Arya?
Nepean, Barbara Ball, Conservative Canada of record, standing once again in front of MP Chandra's former office. This week marks 6 months since PM Carney was elected in Nepean, and our community still does not have a local constituency office. This is unacceptable. The constituency office is where trained local staff, not the MP himself, helps residents navigate federal services, immigration, pensions, veterans benefits, and urgent casework.
They could have just left the office there, just kept Chandra's office and stuck Carney's name on it. Well, what is this? Mark Carney does not care about Canadians. He's a globalist. I don't know what he is, but he's not a Canadian. He doesn't care about Canada at all. And you're going to see that in this video today. But before we get to that, we got this disgrace here, Cpac, singing a changed version of the Canadian anthem during the World Series. Notice right at the start as everyone's pointing out here, wait, did he just sing, "Oh Canada, our home on native land," not home and native land? It's woke garbage. And then he has the, instead of all of our sons, all of us, all that kind of crap.
First to sing the Canadian national anthem, please welcome multi-platinum, Grammy-nominated Canadian singer-songwriter, Cpac.
Oh, Canada, our home on native land, true.
This is disgraceful, man. If you're going to sing this anthem, it has to be right. Otherwise, you should be going to jail for this. They should be fined or something. You can't just change the lyrics as you want willy-nilly.
Hatred, love, in all of us command.
He's already changed 2 lyrics in the first 20 seconds here. This guy's singing is so bad. I don't know how he's Grammy nominated, all that. He's absolutely awful.
With glowing hearts, we see thee rise.
They should be playing this guy on repeat in prisons. The crime rate would plummet. That is, if they stuck people in prison. So looking at the comments, people are not impressed with this nonsense reconciliation that's being done during the World Series. Our home on native land. How about we give up Cpac's house first? Go ahead, First Nations, take his house. Jumping over to the House of Commons, we got Pierre Poilievre blasting Mark Carney on his lack of getting a deal here.
Speaker, it's the Prime Minister who has said that the ad prevented him from keeping his promise and getting a deal. He claims he was on the verge of getting that deal. Yeah. So surely if he saw an ad that would interrupt the deal, he would have said no and hit the brakes. So the question is, yes or no? Did the Prime Minister or anyone on his staff see the ad before it went out? Yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, our government is committed to doing the serious work necessary to get a deal with the United States and to build a strong, resilient Canadian economy.
That's right. So Pierre actually asked him this 1 or 2 times before this clip, and this is a valid question. If Carney knew that this ad was going to derail the deal and he saw it and approved it, why did he do it then? Why did he allow Doug Ford to run that ad? As you're going to see coming up here, something is really fishy.
Being serious means being honest. Yes. And telling Did the Prime Minister being honest is a joke to these Liberals, Mr. Speaker.
There's never been a truer statement said. Being honest is a joke to these losers. They destroy lives and laugh about it.
Did the Prime Minister or his staff see the ad before it went out? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-US trade.
Mr. Speaker, I can imagine the frustration that the Leader of the Opposition feels when he sees a Prime Minister elected to take this serious economic and sovereignty challenge with all of the seriousness it deserves. That's why Canadians thought the Leader of the Opposition wasn't up to that task. That's why Canadians chose a Prime Minister who takes serious issues seriously, who will defend Canadian workers and Canadian businesses and stand up for the right deal for Canada.
Oh yeah? This is about to look really dumb, taking things serious, getting serious deals. Here we have Donald Trump bringing on the new Prime Minister of Japan, who is now deporting people out of Japan, getting rid of all their woke nonsense.
This woman, that's right. This woman is a winner. So, you know, we've become very close friends all of a sudden because their stock market today and our stock market today hit an all-time high. That means we're doing something right. But the cherished alliance between the United States and Japan is one of the most remarkable relationships in the entire world. Really, there's never been anything like it. Born out of the ashes of a terrible war, our bond has grown over 8 decades into the beautiful friendship that we have. It's a foundation of peace and security in the Pacific. You see it?
This must be the military base here in Japan.
10周年という記念すべき節目にトランプ大統領と共に地域の
As we celebrate the important milestone, I'm truly honored to have this opportunity to deliver remarks with President Trump aboard the aircraft carrier USS George Washington, a symbol.
So there it is. They're on the aircraft carrier. Why is this significant? Because Trump's team here has inked deals with 17 companies totaling $490 billion today, most of these Japanese companies. And who's at the top of the list? The biggest investment?
So the commitments ensure the economic and national security of the United States of America. We're going to be developing energy. We're going to be developing nuclear, semiconductors, and strengthening the entire domestic supply chain. So I'd like to kick it off, right? And the first company I'd like to announce is Westinghouse, which will invest up to $100 billion in nuclear reactors to restore U.S. energy dominance. And we have the co-signer is Bruce Flatt, who's the chairman and CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. So come on up.
Of course it's Brookfield. Of course. It's almost like Donald Trump, Mark Carney are working together.
There you go. You can hold it with the president.
Great. Nice to meet you. Great to have you.
What the heck was that? Nice to meet you? Okay, I'm going to debunk that here pretty quick. Mark Carney's buddy, Bruce Flatt, CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. So they go on to announce 17 other companies. We'll get to that in a second. First off, let's look at this deal. So signs $80 billion nuclear deal. It says $80 billion, and he just announced $100 billion. I think it's up to $100 billion. Basically, the Coles notes of this, you can see here, the government will receive 20% of Westinghouse cash distributions exceeding $17.5 billion after the $80 billion investment is met. The government's putting up a loan to build all this stuff, and then the government gets 20% afterwards. As it mentions here, Cpac, who's the funder of uranium, this is a Canadian company, their stocks exploded today, going up 25-30%. We've got it right here. You can see so it's up $27, 22%. This keeps changing per hour. You can see earlier it was higher here and it's dropped a bit, but you can see this meteoric rise here. Now, if you've been watching the channel a while, you know this is already on the board here. It's right here with this. Brookfield plus Cpac by Westinghouse Nuclear Services. Brookfield holds 51.1%, Cpac holds 49.9%. This essentially builds the nuclear facilities and Cpac is the uranium miner supplier. You can see this is going everywhere right now. US strikes $80 billion deal. This is to power their AI revolution, essentially. And here it is on the Globe and Mail. And they have a comparison here of Cpac versus Brookfield Asset Management. Brookfield got a little bit of a pump, not a lot, and then it kind of died off. People have already pumped and dumped this stock since Mark Carney won the election, so I'm not really surprised. I think a lot of investors are iffy on that because they already saw it pump so hard. Going back to my chart though, Donald Trump said, nice to meet you. Maybe he's never met him in person person before. But we do know that there's history between these two men, and they go back before Mark Carney. Bruce Flatt, CEO of Brookfield Asset Management here, is currently bench-warming the chair position that Mark Carney used to inhabit. Mark Carney became prime minister, stepped down, Bruce Flatt took over that chair position. I'm sure if Carney lost the election, he would have just gone right back into that position. But the connections between these three men, Bruce Flatt, Mark Carney, and Donald Trump, is a little foggy. First off, the major one between Bruce Flatt and Donald Trump is this 666 Fifth Avenue, this one here, this property, bailout property. So Jared Kushner, his family bought this property and it was going bankrupt. The Qatari Investment Authority, you can see here, Brookfield plus QIA, back in August 2018, they footed the bill here, $1.2 billion to bail out this property. So for Donald Trump's son-in-law, he's married to Ivanka Trump. And you can see here, Qatari Investment Authority, who Mark Carney just had a meeting with over in Europe, not just a couple of weeks ago, have invested $15 billion in Brookfield total. And you can see here all these different Qatar flags here. These are all QIA investments. There's tons of them. You can check this out for yourself as well, www.moosechart.com. And I have people ask me, if you want to support the channel, I have links right here, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, and Patreon. And if you want to submit a tip, I have that right above the support the channel thing right here. So the Qatar Investment Authority invested in Brookfield. Brookfield uses $1.2 billion of that to bail out Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Now, the Democrats were suspicious about what was going on here with this whole bailout property, so they tried to question Bruce Flatt, Brookfield Asset Management, who did this deal. The House Oversight Committee tried to get Bruce Flatt to testify, and so we've got this document here by the United States Senate Committee on Finance requesting information from Bruce Flatt. You can see here, dear Mr. Bruce Flatt, and he refuses, essentially protecting Donald Trump, not giving any information. I'm writing regarding Brookfield Asset Management, Brookfield's refusal to provide the Senate Finance Committee information it requested related to transaction with the Kushner properties involving funding from the government of Qatar. As you are aware, the committee is investigating whether former senior White House advisor Jared Kushner's financial conflicts of interest influenced U.S. policy in the Middle East. In particular, the committee's investigation seeks to uncover the full extent to which Brookfield was aware that a fund co-owned by the government of Qatar would use to carry out $1.2 billion bailout of a struggling Kushner property. So you can see the government sent this over to Bruce Flatt. And what are we seeing in return? Well, it's right here. These guys have been working this partnership for years. Meanwhile, what else have we seen this year? Donald Trump accepted a free plane from Qatar worth what is $250 million. This luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar, a gift to be available for use for President Donald Trump as a new Air Force One until his new plane comes in. But this goes into the presidential library so him and his family can use it after he's out of the White House. And on top of that, what did we just see like 2 weeks ago? Is this Qatar to build Air Force facility in Idaho? What the heck? I can't imagine many Republicans or conservatives in America like the idea of Qatar having an air base in America. This seems absurd to me. U.S. has finalized an agreement that will allow Qatar to build an Air Force facility in Idaho. He said the facility where the pilots from the Gulf state will be trained to fly F-15 fighter jets. Is this strictly just to make more sales and have Qatar buy their F-15s? Is there something else going on here? Mark Carney and Brookfield have been very cushy with the Qataris. You got Donald Trump also very cushy with the Qataris and the Saudis, all the Middle Eastern big money over there. You see that with all these deals being done. Now we've got Bruce Flatt doing this huge deal with Donald Trump. Mark Carney can't seem to get a deal to save his life. Is this all intentional? Like, what is going on here? Now it gets a little confusing here because Mark Carney was being investigated by the SEC for his involvement, his creation essentially of GFANZ and for antitrust, because it was forcing companies to be eco and green. It was basically cornering the market. And apparently he did testify. I don't have that footage. I don't know if they shot footage of that, but this whole antitrust GFANZ SEC investigation, it went nowhere. But you got to think, it wasn't Donald Trump in power when this happened. It was Joe Biden. You think Joe Biden's going to allow a guy like Mark Carney, who has this eco-green climate company, to get burned to the ground by the government? No, he's going to protect this guy. Mark Carney was questioned on this. This went nowhere. There was no further investigation. And when Donald Trump gets in, he could have nailed Carney on this. I'm sure he could have brought this back and absolutely nailed him, but he chose not to. Instead, we're seeing this deal here, Brookfield plus Trump U.S. government nuclear deal. Now, going back to the announcement, who else did they announce here? What are the other companies? Oh, and by the way, he said, nice to meet you. So maybe they didn't know each other in person, but they definitely knew each other. Like, let's get real here. It's bizarre, too. His posture is just as bad as Mark Carney's.
Starting with the big deals. Then we have GE Vernova, also $100 billion
GE Vernova. If you've watched the channel, you know exactly what that is because it's on Mark Carney's list of major projects here that he's invested in. Of course it is. Darlington new nuclear facility here, small modular reactor. There it is, GE Vernova. So they have a partnership here with GE Hitachi, and that's the one that's being built in Ontario. Mark Carney's invested in BWX Technologies and GE Vernova. This is the same GE General Electric, and we've got it here. So what's the stock up? Oh, BWX Technologies up 91%. Last time I looked at this, it was 77%. Brookfield was at 28, now they're 33. GE Vernova up 54% since Mark Carney became prime minister. He is getting stinking rich. This is ridiculous.
By using nuclear, the construction of SMRs, and also large-scale power equipment such as gas turbines, steam turbines, and generators. And we have Scott Strazik, CEO of GE Vernova.
Yeah, that brings us back to number 23 of Mark Carney's conflicts of interest. Things are really starting to make sense. I've showed this on a previous video that Mark Carney mentioned GE Hitachi just a couple days ago when he was in Ontario announcing funding for the Darlington deal. Here he is back from the debate stage also mentioning Westinghouse.
Do we have to speed up the development of nuclear power?
Yes, absolutely. And for a couple of reasons.
Across Quebec, in Ontario?
Yeah. It's a choice that Quebec and the provinces will make. But we have a major advantage here in Canada. We have uranium. We have big nuclear companies, including Westinghouse, Candu, and others. And we have technology in small modular reactors. So it's a great opportunity.
I understand there are wells in the countries in the world.
Boy, it really is a great opportunity, isn't it, for him?
Needs nuclear energy. I don't think Canada needs nuclear energy. Quebec doesn't want it. I'm not going to interfere in Canadian energy, but
it could be reviewed.
No, Quebecers don't want nuclear energy.
You want to support nuclear power, smaller reactors, which are more dangerous, by the way. And Brookfield has investments in Westinghouse.
Yes, it does. Carney already has multiple ethics violations here. He should be charged. He should be thrown out of office. Instead, he's just enriching himself. How are the stock charts looking today? He's up 33%. Brookfield up 3%, up 2%, up 46%, 45, 91. ConocoPhillips is the only one that's not winning for him right now. ExxonMobil, Canadian Natural Resources. And here's a list of all of his stocks. I'm still struggling to get this to work because I think the token runs out when it keeps trying to generate all of these. But Mark Carney's doing pretty well here. Altier Engineering up 510%. Congrats, Carney. Going back to this announcement, whether companies made deals with the Americans, well, we've got Westinghouse, that was the first one, GE Vernova, as you just heard, Bechtel with a $25 billion construction agreement, Kiewit Corporation. If you're wondering who Kiewit is, I have them on my board right here. Kiewit, they're a part of this Darlington deal. So nuclear energy, that's a $25 billion deal. There's SoftBank, $25 billion, Toshiba, $25 billion. There's Carrier Corporation for $20 billion. Mark Carney is invested in Carrier Corporation. There it is, Carrier Corporation. Kinder Morgan, $7 billion. Mitsubishi, $30 billion. TWK Corporation, $25 billion. Fujikura, $25 billion. Hitachi, doesn't say the amount, but I can almost guarantee it's going to be this GE Hitachi with GE Vernova. They're talking nuclear energy, so that's what that one's going to be. Murata Manufacturing, $15 billion. Panasonic, $15 billion. Toyota, $10 billion. It says another unnamed company, $10 billion. Total $490 billion. Canada's getting fleeced. Now, going back to what Carney's just mentioned there, on the debate stage, uranium. Canada has uranium. Yeah, we do. And what was the deal that just from the previous video? Pete Hoekstra slipped it out. The deal was for steel, aluminum, oil, and uranium. That was the deal that Mark Carney was going to sign. I don't know what's going on here because Carney wasn't able to get that deal signed. So something's funny here, but all these pieces are lining up. It seems Donald Trump has kept this relationship with Bruce Flatt going for a long time. I've been trying to look into what Donald Trump's investments are because is he getting rich off this? I don't know. It's a whole new world looking up the American stuff for me, but there's a whole bunch of pieces here and they're all aligned and they're in alignment of not favoring Canada. Mark Carney helped Brookfield move their headquarters to America, then becomes Canadian Prime Minister. Now we have Brookfield announcing $100 billion deal in America. Are you kidding me? Who could support this guy right now? This is ridiculous. What is it going to take for the average Canadian who voted Liberal last time to wake up and realize they're getting used and Carney's getting rich?